Hello comrades, Commissar bro here today with another of our little after-action reports. This will be the 8th episode, if I'm not mistaken, and boy, have things gotten nasty. That's right. So, without further ado, let's jump right in. Hold on one second, let me see what this is. Carrier fighter, okay, I'll get to that later. Actually, you know what, let me just go ahead and do it right now before I forget, because let me tell you, my friends, I've got a nasty habit of forgetting to do certain things that I was supposed to do. So yeah, there we go. Alright, okay. So, let's talk business, shall we? Yes, we shall. So, when last we left off, the war was caught in a disgusting stalemate between the Allies and us and France. But now, in the 1st of November 1975, not only has France fallen, Spain has fallen, and ladies and gentlemen, even the Union of Britain has fallen to the might of communist China. That's right, look at our little airplanes flying around like fuck bitches get money. It took a lot of airplanes to get to this point. And when I say a lot of airplanes, you don't even fucking know. These numbers aren't reliable. I've lost more than this and killed far more than this. The numbers, as time has passed on, have become skewed. Truly, in France alone, well over 40,000 airplanes have been lost on both sides. The English Channel, look how many airplanes have been shot down and lost over the English Channel, battling for control of the skies. England itself had a little bit of a scuffle, but not all that much. And truly, it was only recently that we actually took the Isle, which technically the British capitulated on the 7th of July. That's right. You're probably wondering how I did it. Well, I tried several small invasions to see just how heavily defended these waters were, and I was not surprised to find that they were defending the dog shit out of the English Channel with lots of boats. Nothing was getting through. Nothing got through. So after about 15 divisions, I decided we were not going to take England by sea. No, instead, we took England by air. 28 paratrooper divisions dropped in right here in East Anglia and proceeded to attack the British unawares. Whilst doing that, we gained air superiority over the Isle and began to drop nukes on the outside of London. That's right. With the nukes falling, the British were unable to effectively defend against the paratroopers, who proceeded to conquer all this territory very quickly. Truly, England fell within a week. 1 week from 28 divisions and quite a few nukes, probably about 20. The Allied forces that were caught in the retreat were completely wiped out. Well over 50 American divisions alone were wiped out in Dover, Portsmouth, and right up here in Yorkshire. That's right. It was pretty disgusting what we did. However, as you can see, the Americans were not entirely pushed off the Isle, as they still hold ground in the Scottish Highlands up here at Scapa Flow. Yes, that's right. Unfortunately, I'm not really able to dislodge them at the moment, but it is what it is. I don't have air superiority on the northern part of England. I only have it on the southern part of England. And just so you know, the British capitulated because of the ridiculous amount of nukes being dropped on them. I've dropped a lot of nukes on the British throughout this entire playthrough, so you can imagine that when we finally came in and attacked the Union of Britain, it only required me to have 75% of victory points to force them to surrender. So, it was a pretty disgusting battle. Another interesting battle I figure might be worth mentioning is one that occurred over here in the East China Sea. Yes, over here we finally got to demonstrate the power of our naval forces, which went toe-to-toe with Allied fleets and actually did quite the number on them. We managed to destroy almost, God, I don't even know, I think it was somewhere in the ballpark of around 80 Allied ships at the loss of only about 10 of our own, which is ridiculous. Our battleships were incredibly effective, and showed absolutely no mercy. As you can see here, our battleships have even become veterans. Yes, I think one of them actually sunk 3 ships. Yeah, see, that one sunk 3 ships. That sunk 1. That sunk 2. Sunk 1. 1. And the list goes down. As you sit there and go down, that number builds up very quickly to be a very, very high number of Allied ships sunk in one singular battle. Now, the Allies have not been sleeping whilst this war has been occurring. After the fall of Britain and after the disgusting naval defeat in the East China Sea, the Allies have pushed up efforts to stop convoys coming through the area through the Mediterranean, and have sunk well over 3,000 ships in just the past couple of months since July. I'm very quickly running out of convoys, but I am repairing my ships as they were heavily damaged in that huge naval battle that occurred between the two of us. And I am even building additional ships, basically to have one mega fleet, which will then patrol the Mediterranean and clear it out once and for all. It's an interesting state of affairs, and so far things seem to be going very damn well. As you can see, I also want to mention that I took control of France from the Soviet Union. I requested control of the state. It increased my factories significantly, allowing me to field more men and basically to produce far more military equipment. That's right. And so, all in all, our forces are pretty big, pretty devastating. We are actually running low on airplanes at this point in time. Many of our airplanes have been shot down. We still have plenty of reserves. Truly, if we go through our list and we look at it, we still have quite a few planes to choose from. We have 5,300 fighters, 15,000 TAC bombers, 926 jet strategic bombers, 4,500 strategic bombers, so on and so forth. We still have lots of airplanes to choose from, but there's no doubt in my mind that our air forces were crippled. Well, I wouldn't say crippled, but devastated, definitely devastated in the fights to take over southern England, the English Channel, and southern France, and even a little bit here in the Iberian region of Spain. That's right, so there was a lot of fighting there. One thing I do want to point out is we finally liberated Portugal, as you probably noticed, which I'm very happy about. Portugal has been a very powerful ally, and I am ridiculously proud of being able to have saved their country from the perfidious Allied forces. The Soviet Union has taken control, for the most part, of Africa. Before, it was pretty much split between the two, but for some reason, Portugal has given control of the majority of Africa back to the Russians, which I'm not entirely sure why, because Portugal would do better to have kept all that territory, increasing their factories and so on and so forth. Like, look at that. They gave 13 military factories. Maybe they just couldn't patrol it. They probably just don't have the army anymore. Their population undoubtedly is still pretty devastated from being conquered in the first place. That's right. So, as per usual, you're probably wondering what's next. Well, simply put, it seems like we've pretty much kicked the Allies out of Europe, out of Africa. The entire Eastern Hemisphere has been completely liberated for the most part. And I'm not going to say completely, that's incorrect. For the most part, the Allies have been kicked out. Now, they have a few strongholds here or there, like Madagascar. They're starting to push back in the Middle East. They still own Ceylon. They have the Indonesian area, all of these areas, the Philippines, and Australia. Australia actually has a pretty good air force, which it has been using repeatedly to strike my territories. And they still owned Taiwan and so on. However, this will not be for very long. these territories will soon be ours, as I'm basically starting to do more surgical strikes on areas that we do not currently occupy. It's going to be much easier. And I do want to mention as well, like with the paratroopers. So I wasn't entirely sure how to use paratroopers. Never used them before. So I used this area right here as my springboard, as my testing ground to see exactly how paratroopers work. With those 28 divisions, I boarded them up here in Hinterpommern, the airbase we have there, and dropped the first 14 in Ostpreußen and the other 14 right here to the east of Königsberg. So basically the two forces kind of converged and took over this whole area, basically giving me a really good crash course in how they work, essentially, and how paratroopers work. So it went pretty well, if you ask me. And hold on a second, I've got to do one more thing. I forgot to garrison Königsberg. I'm going to need that territory to be pristine. I actually have military access through the Polish lands, so they pretty much let me move my troops right on through, thankfully. Otherwise it would be kind of a pain in the ass to do it, don't you think? But anyway, as we were saying, where are things going from here? Well, like I said, we still have to kind of clear out the Americans out of Northern Ireland, right here on this island here. We have to push them out of the Scottish Highlands altogether. And then after that, it's a consideration on how we're going to get into the United States and how we're going to get into Canada and how we're going to take down Brazil and even Mexico. Those are the four major powers, including Australia. We'll add them in there as well. Which, by the way, is hilariously enough become communist. I don't know how that happened. I guess Stalin has been using his influence over there in Australia, so that worked out pretty well. But we're going to have to take the United States. We're going to have to take Brazil. We're going to have to take Mexico and Canada. And figuring out how we're going to do that is going to be an interesting just going to be interesting to figure out how we're going to do that. Like I said, the Allies still have a major naval presence, and if there's anything really truly dividing us from taking these guys over, it's undoubtedly the gigantic mass of water between the two of us. And the closest tips we truly have would be here at Cape Verde and Brazil. So it's very possible, actually, that we might be able to paratroop troops into Brazil, but we don't know what's there. We don't know how many troops the Brazilians have. We don't know anything. Truly, we don't know anything about how Brazil is currently set up, so that could be a suicide mission. It could either be a suicide mission or it could turn out really well. I'm going to go ahead and put some transport planes on over here to prepare for the eventual invasion that we're going to plan for. That's right. Yeah, so it'll take a few days for those to get there. But actually, I kind of hope that turns out well. We'll see. We'll see. But anyway, let's go ahead and finish it off with our casualty report. Where are we now in casualties? I don't think it's changed too much, but let's go ahead and take a look, shall we? We're going to start with a common turn first, because it's so much easier. The list is much smaller. The Iranian Communist Country Authority, whatever, 6.21 million. Mongolia, 1.10 million. Soviet Union, 49.81 million. The People's Republic of China, 30.23 million. The Saudi Arabia, 279,000. The Democratic Republic of Afghanistan, 1.19 million. Iraq, 935,000. Maximalist Portugal, 3.35 million. And the Socialist Republic of Germany, 44,000. Alright, so now let's take a look at the gigantic list of allies and see how awful they're doing right now. Well, the United States is at 16.99 million. The British Raj is 1.74 million. Romania, 1.07 million. The Union of Britain, 9.78 million. Philippines, 1.01 million. Netherlands, 2.49 million. France, 13.24 million. Australia is at 1.68 million. Belgium is at 2.84 million. Guatemala is at 176,000. Liberia is 127,000. Luxembourg is 103,000. South Africa, 940,000. Czechoslovakia, 643,000. The Kiwi Empire is 132,000. Yugoslavia is 956,000. Canada is 1.16 million. Brazil is at 2.10 million. The Mexican opposition is at 3.6 million. Republic of Thailand, 185,000. The State of Japan, 1.66 million. Turkey is 687,000. Spain is at 327,000. The Socialist Republic of Bulgaria is at 360,000. Hungary is at 830,000. Italy is at 5.19 million. Austria is at 401,000. Republican Spain is at 1.91 million. The German Republic is 6.16 million. 6.16 million. The Republic of Albania is 27,000. The Monastic Communist Tibet, blah, 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 35,000. Third Gangxi Clique, 3,000. And the Republic of China, 3,000. And the war is going 78% in our favor. One last thing I will mention is look how large our armies have grown. We've started mass producing Marines, paratroopers, and all manner of various infantry to basically prepare ourselves for the eventual invasion of the United States. We're going to need hundreds of divisions alone just to occupy the territory. So being able to conquer it, it's undoubtedly we're going to need a lot of dudes to get the job done. And with that, this has been Commissar Bro. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying watching this as much as I'm enjoying playing it. It seems as though the war is very quickly coming to a close, and it looks like we are going to end up being the victors. But anyway, we'll see next time what happens. This has been CB, and I'll see you guys later.